everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. In today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use offsets, slice, attach, all the things to make some really cute designs. We're going to make some name designs and I'm going to use some images and we'll do some in vinyl and some in HTVs. So this is just a really fun way to learn how to design within Cricut Design Space. Like I said, we're going to go over a lot of different features that you're going to be able to take that knowledge and work them into other projects that you want to make. Before we get started, be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any fun, crafty content we have coming. Without further ado, let's get started.
This is one of those things that I think is really easy, but can also be so confusing for people, especially if you're newer to Cricut. So let's get started. I'm going to show you how to make this very simple design. We'll do a couple different versions so that you can see a couple ways that you can make this. The first thing I want to do is start with a text box, and you can use any text that you want, but for this, I'll just use my name because it's just easy. Now I will make this bigger and I'm going to change the color so that you'll be able to see the design a little easier. Now, this is a really boring font and I don't want to use this one. So up here at the top where there's this little A and A, you can click on that and it'll bring up your font selection. You have 3 or 4 options here at the top, just kind of depends which design space you have. Cricut fonts, system fonts, recently used fonts, which sometimes works, sometimes doesn't, and if you've bookmarked any fonts. I never do. But under my system fonts, which is what I usually prefer to use, I got this new one called Berry Notes. I'll link it down below. It's really cute, and I'm going to use that one for this design just because I think it's fun. Now, for my visual sake, I do like to unite my fonts because do you see these little lines between all my letters? It's not going to cut those, but I just don't like looking at them. So if you go down to your combine option down here and you choose unite, it'll get rid of those lines. You want to use unite so that you can undo it if you want to change the name or move the letters around. So definitely use unite. Now we need to add our offsets to this, and the offsets can be found under the edit button up here in the left-hand corner. Offset is this one that says love on it, and I'm going to choose my offset. Now you can adjust the size of your offset to any size that you want, but for an outline font like I want to do this design, I don't want a very large outline because I really do want that edge to be pretty defined. So I like to make it pretty small. It doesn't have to be teeny tiny, but I do like to have kind of a smaller area. So I'm going to put it at 0.097, but you can kind of do whatever size looks good to you. Then I'm going to click apply. Now I have a first offset, which is our gray offset, but we need to add an additional offset to this, which you can simply do by having offset selected over here. This is your offset, and you choose this offset button. Now you can make this offset a little bit bigger than your original one if you want to, or you can make it smaller, whatever you want to do. You keep it the same size. It's truly up to you. I tend to do just a little bit bigger. I don't want to go huge, but I do like a little bit bigger of an outline. And then I'm going to click apply. So you'll see now you have 2 gray offsets. You have the smaller one and the larger one. What we need to do is slice these offsets apart because we want to have that inner area be clear or transparent, see-through, whatever you want to call it. So what you'll do is you're going to grab your offsets. So you're going to hold Shift on your keyboard and click them both over on your layers panel. At the bottom of the layers panel, you're going to see this slice button. Now, if for some reason this slice is grayed out, it is because you don't have enough layers selected or you have too many layers. You can only slice 2 layers at a time, so just make sure just those 2 offsets are selected and not the text. Once you click slice, you're going to have quite a few layers show up here. You're going to delete a couple of them. Now, if you're not quite sure which ones to delete, you can use this hiding button, which is this little eyeball, and it'll show you kind of which ones you want gone because you want that inner section gone. Once I've done that, I can just delete them while they're hidden. It just makes it easier. Let me change the color of this offset so that you can see what our design is going to look like. Now, why do I like doing these? I think these are so fun for things like your pattern vinyls are really fun to do with these. They're really fun to do with colors, and you can do lots of layers, lots of really fun ways to use these. But I do want to show you something else. So if I'm unhappy with my outline, because I do think it's a little thin, all you have to do is you can very easily correct this. If you go back under edit and you create another offset, you can make your offset a little bit bigger than you made it originally. So remember, it was 0.097. If I want to make it just a little bit wider, I can widen that offset. So this is going to be a new offset. I'm going to click apply. And then I'm just going to do that same thing where I slice them apart. I'm going to slice both the offsets apart. And that's going to allow me to have a little bit wider space between my word and my outline. So if you're unhappy with how thin your outline is, you can make it a little bit bigger if you want to, and that can help you kind of adjust the way that this looks. There's a lot of ways that you can use this, design this, but I'm going to show you another way that I like to do that I think looks really cool if you're doing like a decal or something. So let me go ahead, and the first thing we're going to do, we're going to actually attach this design so that when we go to cut it, it'll cut all as one piece. And I'll resize them in a little bit, but right now I just want them big so you can see. But I am going to duplicate this because I want to cut one plain, and then I'm going to show you another option for this that I think is really fun. Now, once I've attached it, I can actually add another offset to this, and you can make this like a little bit bigger, whatever you want to do. Again, there's not really a wrong size for the next offset. You just kind of make it however size you want it to be. Now I'm going to click apply, but you'll notice here by the C that I have a space of white. Now I don't necessarily want that. That's not quite the look I want to go for. I would really like more of a solid offset. There's a really easy way to fill that in, and it's just going to be using contour down here at the bottom of your layers panel. If you click that, you can simply hide this little piece just by clicking it over here. You can also use hide all contours, which will hide the piece, or you can just physically click it on the design. Then when I come back to it, you'll notice here that this is fully filled in. Now, what's really fun about this is you can use like specialty vinyls to make like a really cool layered look. So maybe I want to do like a purple and a pink, or maybe I want to do green and purple, which is really ugly together, but you can do a really fun layered look for this. And maybe you want to do like a holographic background and just a solid color name. Maybe you want to do a holographic name and a solid colored background. There's a lot of ways to do that because you're going to use these offsets. It's just a really fun way to make your design stand out a little bit more and just make it a little more unique. Now I'll go ahead and hide this one as well, but we are not going to attach this because I need the offset, which is this color here, the blue, to cut separately from the purple. But if you want to be able to move them together on your screen, because like right now, if I click on it, I can move each piece individually. But if I just want to make sure everything stays together, just to make visual a lot easier, you can use the group option at the top of your layers panel. And you'll see that it doesn't change color, but now when I click on it, it moves both pieces. So that's a really great way to use the group option. Now, this does not work just on text. What's really fun is you can use this on images as well, and it's a really fun way to make like just a fun image. So I'm going to just use a design from Cricut Design Space here, and let me pick one out that I think will look really cute like this, and then I'll show you how we set this up. Let's do this really cute little bow. I just thought this was fun, and bows are super trendy, so it's a really fun design to do. Now, what's also really fun is you don't necessarily have to have the outline be the same color as your design. So again, all we'll do is use the offsets, and it's so simple. Edit, offset, choose the size of your offset. That's a little big, I think, compared to like what I want it to be. So again, I just sort of size it down to what I think I want it to be. I think that's pretty good. Then I'm going to add another offset, and let's keep the offsets the same size. Again, we're just going to slice the two offsets from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and slice them. And I'm going to delete the two inner offsets, leaving me with this outline. Now, again, I can make this outline black if I want to. Maybe I want to make it purple. Maybe it's school colors. So maybe the bow is going to be red and the outline is going to be blue for some school colors. There's lots of really fun ways to do this. But I also want to show you what could be a really fun way to use a design like this, just because I think it could be really, really cute and just a fun thing that you can do. I'm going to go ahead and again, duplicate this so that I can show you two ways that I would use to design this, because I think it could be really, really fun. I'm going to go ahead and hide the bow. And for this one, I'm actually going to redo our offset. So let me just delete that offset and we'll come back to that in 1 second. Because I want to show you a really fun way that I think you could make this bow extra cute, extra special. So let's go ahead and we'll just add our name again, and we'll just use that same font just because I think it's cute. Now, I'm going to move this and put this wherever I want, like kind of in the middle of the bow. You kind of figure out where you want it. It doesn't have to be the exact way I want it or whatever. You kind of line it up how you want. But I think that looks pretty cute. Now what I want to do is I'm going to add an offset first to my name. So I'm going to go here to edit. I'm going to add that offset. And again, I don't want a huge offset, but I do want something that will stand out. But I think 0.111 is perfect for this. I'm going to apply that. Now, I do want to slice out this offset from the bow, and this will all make sense to you in just a moment when you see how this is going to look, because I think this is going to be so cute. So I'm going to slice the offset out of the bow. I'm going to delete all the parts here that are like this gray offset and then this part of the red that we no longer need. Now you can see that my name is sitting within the bow. Here's what we're going to do, because this is going to be super darn cute. I'm going to select both items. I'm going to go back to edit and I'm going to use offset. Now what's fun about this is it's going to offset both my name and the bow. Now again, I'll just leave it at 0.111 because I do think that's a good size. And I'm going to click apply. Now what I want to do, let me change the color of this again, just so it's easier to kind of see what I'm showing you. I'm going to go ahead and do another offset of that same size here on to the full design. So all I have to do is just click offset and click apply. Now, you have a few layers here. You can see you've got the black name, the red bow, the first offset that's yellow, and then the gray offset. I want to slice the gray offset and the yellow offset so that I have this really cool outline. So I'm going to go ahead and choose slice. I'm going to get rid of the yellow and this intersection of gray. Now from here, I can change the colors to whatever I want them to be. So let's say our school colors are, I don't know, red and blue, just sort of what sticks out in my mind as like school colors. But the name in black just isn't doing it for me. So let me change the background color. Let's say we're going to put this on a black design, like on a black shirt or something. I'm going to change my name to white because those are the school colors. It's red, white, and blue. And look at how cute this would be. This would be so cute for a cheerleader or any girl in like drama club. You could do so many different types of designs like this, and it's so fun. Now again, I'm going to use that unite option here on my name just so it looks a little cleaner to see what that's going to look like. But tell me that is not such a cute design. Now again, I'm going to cut these out. I'll put some on HTV and I'll do some on vinyl, but this is just a really fun way to make some of these really adorable little outline designs. Now I do see that I have a lot of purple, so let me change up the colors a little bit. If I do this one on a sweatshirt, I might do, let's do this one in black. Let me change the background color just so you can see this better. So I'll do that one in black. And then like this one, I'll just kind of do whatever colors. I'll figure it out. But the reason I want to change the colors is because that way when I go to cut these, it knows that I'm not cutting them on the same materials. So I'll just change out the colors. These colors are not going to be cute down here, but I'll play with those and figure out what I want to do. Now, before I go over to the make screen, I'm going to click save. We'll save it as outline designs and click save. Now, I do want to show you what this is going to look like on your make screen. But again, if you're not making a ton of them, yours will look a little different. But I just want to show you that each color will have its own mat. Now, because I'm doing so many different types of products, I'll probably break them down to the HTV cuts and then the vinyl cuts. But you can see that you can see each of the fun cuts here that we have ready to go. This is just a really fun thing to do with your Cricut. So we're going to go ahead and make these. Now, HTV, I'll probably use StarCraft Softflex, which cuts on the everyday iron-on setting. And then I'm going to use some specialty vinyl for the other ones. So you can see some ways you can mix them up to make a really cool design. And I'll let you know which ones I'm using and their cut settings, because off the top of my head, I'm not really sure what I want to use. It's one of the things that I love about Cricut is you can be so creative with the different finishes and types of vinyl. So let's head over to the machine. We'll get these cut out. I'll press the HTV, we'll layer the vinyl, and we're gonna have so much fun.
We're gonna cut our vinyl designs first. So I'm gonna load my vinyl onto my mat. Now I wanna show you this because this is actually smart vinyl, but I'm gonna use it with my regular Cricut, which you can absolutely do. You just cut it down to size. So with this one, I really only need 9 inches-ish wide, but I'm just gonna kind of cut just a general space here, just a piece off, and then this should be just fine. So I have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Is this wide enough? No. So we'll use this one instead because this one should be just fine. It just needs to be a little under or a little over 8, so it doesn't really matter, but this will be a perfect size for like another decal, so I'm not really worried about it. I'm gonna go ahead and load this in. Now I do recommend doing a test cut before you commit to cutting on a new material. With this, I've cut it before. It works really well on my machine with the shimmer vinyl setting, but definitely do some test cuts on your machine. Now before I remove this, I do just always kind of check the cut because you just never know, especially since it's been a while since I've cut this vinyl, but that looks perfect. So I'm gonna go ahead and unload it. I'm gonna get the rest of the vinyl all cut out and we'll layer the vinyl and then we'll do the HTV designs. We're ready to go ahead and layer these. So I'm gonna use parchment paper to help me line everything up. I've got my holographic one, which is so pretty. And then that's gonna go on top of the black here, which is also really fun. Now I'm gonna use a squeegee, of course. And what I'm gonna do is the transfer tape only goes on your top layer for this since we're doing 2 layers. So I'm just gonna pull off a piece of transfer tape. And if you guys haven't watched me before, you know that my trick is to always place the vinyl onto the transfer tape and not the transfer tape onto the vinyl. I saw somebody doing it the other way the other day on TikTok and it reminded me how hard that is. So this is a much easier way to do it. And then you can always save your little scraps here. They're great for like little pieces. And I just either stick them back to the roll or I will put them on like the side of my toolbox, whatever it may be. Now I'm going to burnish this from the back and I can either use the felt side of the squeegee or I can use the plastic side of this. It does not matter, but when we go to place this on, you're gonna see how easy this is because instead of peeling it this way with just taking the vinyl off the backing, I'm actually gonna remove the backing from the vinyl. This is a much easier way to do this and it's gonna just work so much more smooth for you than trying to do it the opposite way. What the science is behind that, I don't know, but it does work. Now this is obviously a very large piece of parchment paper. I don't necessarily need one quite this big, but it's what I have available, so it'll work just fine. Now I'm just gonna get this little piece of dog hair off of that before it sticks to it. And what you'll do is you're gonna place your parchment paper so that it's covering most of your design. Now with this one, I can kind of put the parchment paper wherever I need it to be, just so it's not like falling off the table. Then you're gonna take your top layer and you see that I have a little piece hanging out over here. I'm gonna take my top layer and I'm just gonna line it up. And I'm gonna try to get it as straight and as even as I can. And once I'm happy, where that little edge is sticking out, I'm gonna press down the vinyl right there. Then I'm gonna pull the transfer tape or the parchment paper out. And all I'm gonna do is lay my design down just like so. And I just use my hand to do it for the first little portion. And then you can come in with your squeegee and you can burnish this down. And I'll take the transfer tape off of this so that you can see it better because I do feel like the transfer tape leaves a little bit of color to be desired from this. So I do tend to like to take it off for you guys because it just dulls that holographic a little bit. But if I'm happy with it, all I have to do is gently peel this off. And what's nice is I can take the transfer tape off if I want to, or I could, you know, put it on something with the transfer tape on it. But it's really up to you and what you want it to look like and if you want to put on something right away or if you're going to use some transfer tape. But look at how pretty that is. Isn't that cool? I just think this is such a fun way to do this. Now we'll layer our little bows next. These are so cute. And again, we'll do that same theory and you can do it either direction, whichever way works best for you, whether you want to do this layer onto the parchment paper or whether you want to do this one. You can do either or, it's totally fine. Now sadly, this piece of transfer tape's far too small to use, so we'll just use a new piece. We could technically maybe reuse that one. Nope, it's too small. What's nice is you can reuse transfer tape. If nobody's told you that before, I want you to know you can reuse transfer tape. I tend to try to use it until it's not sticky anymore, but that one just was a little bit too small for my design, but I will save it for later because I'm sure that I'll have something else that I'm making that will be the right size for this little piece that I had. So just know you can use transfer tape over and over again, and it's just a nice little way, a little cost savings for you. And if you want to know more about transfer tape, I have an entire video dedicated to trying different transfer tapes and finding which one I like best and which one I feel works the best. So again, burnishing it from the back, and then we peel the backing away from the vinyl. Now you may have noticed when I weeded this that it didn't cut perfectly. This is a more difficult vinyl to cut, but it's so worth it because it's so beautiful. Now again, all I'm going to do, you see I leave a little tail out, just a little edge of the design, and then all I do is I just sort of move this around until I'm happy. Now this one might take a little bit longer to kind of scooch around until you're happy with where it's sitting, because it has a few little angles and things that you're going to need to take into account. See, like, I don't think that's quite right. This looks much more correct. I think this is good. I'm happy with that. So again, I press this tail down. I'm going to pull this back, and all I'm going to do is scooch this out of the way. And then you just very gently lay your design down, and then you can burnish this so everything's held down, and voila, you have a really cute little double layered bow, which again, I could take the transfer tape off so that you could see this a little bit better. Ignore the fact that that wanted to come off. Sometimes it will, so it helps to hold it down as you go. And I will say that the backing of this vinyl is not like the stickiest backing, but I do just think you need to see this without that transfer tape because it has such a beautiful shine to it. So this is just a fun way to do this with vinyl, but let's go ahead and we'll do the HTV so you can see how you layer them, because layering HTV is a whole different ballgame. We're gonna cut out our glitter HTV, and I'm putting this one this way just because it has a little gap right there, so I wanna make sure that we don't cut into that section. And I have moved the design over to this corner. So I'm gonna go ahead and load this. Remember that with glitter HTV, it's the glitter side goes down. You can always think of it as carrier sheet side down. I'm cutting these on the glitter iron-on setting. I've got 3 colors in glitter, and then we'll cut some regular HTV for the other design. We're gonna press the glitter one first. I have both lined up, but I'm not gonna press it like this. I just kind of wanted to see what it looks like. I don't have the name on there, but I just wanted to use the full design just so I could get a better idea. Now I'm gonna just try to even it with the handles of our tote and just have it as centered as possible. If it's not perfect, that's okay. I'm gonna peel off this red layer, just leaving behind the blue, because we need to press this in several presses. Another thing I want you to be aware of is when you're pressing this, when you are layering HTV, you only press for a few seconds just to tack it down so that it's held on to your blank, but you're going to be able to layer on top of it without it shrinking. So with glitter, this is a warm peel product, and you're going to just peel this off. Now you'll notice I only pressed for a few seconds, and it's held down okay, but this is not what's going to last forever. So you need to do this in a couple of presses. So I'm gonna go ahead and place the red next, and I'm just lining this up. And I see I've got a little rogue piece of HTV, so let me pull that off. That looks good. Now again, second layer, we're gonna press for just a few seconds. You don't wanna press a full press on this because you, again, don't wanna shrink your HTV. You can go ahead and take this off. And then we'll press that white layer, and the last layer is pressed for the full time. Now we'll add the name, and you just want to get this lined up where you're happy. I think that looks pretty even, and then this one is going to get that full press at 315 degrees for about 15 seconds. Okay, now that it's done, go ahead and lift, and you can remove your last piece of carrier sheet, and now we have our little tote bag all done. So stinking cute. Now I'm going to turn down my heat press because we need to turn that down for our other HTV. We pressed that other one at 285 for about 8 to 10 seconds, but this came out really cute. I'll show you an up close view of everything. Now this tote's a little bit different of a shape. I have the pressing pillow inside of the tote so that it can help with these seams over here. You also want to make sure your tote handles are not under your tote. So now what I want to do is, again, I'm going to put both layers on just so I can double check that I like the way it looks. Now these are not lined up straight in the least bit, and that's okay. This is just to kind of figure out where I want to set this, but I think right about here is probably good. So now what I want to do is I'm going to pull the layers apart. And I'm going to press the purple layer first, just because I think it'll be easier to line up the outside layer. And now that I kind of generally know where I want it, I can kind of get this more centered onto the tote itself, make sure it's straight and good to go. Now I'm going to let my heat press cool down a little bit. I'm going to turn the pressure up just a little by just turning the dial on the handle. I want the higher pressure because of these seams. Just want to make sure that those are not going to get in the way. Now that this is cooled off enough, it's like 289, but it'll cool off a little more when it hits the actual tote. We're going to press this. Now again, just like with the glitter, you only want to do a quick, like couple of seconds, just tack the design down so that it doesn't come up. And again, this is a warm peel, actually a hot peel product, so you go ahead and pull that right off. Now I want to give you a quick tip. I see a lot of people complain that they get some bubbles in their vinyl when they're layering, when they're doing HTV layering. My trick is to allow this to fully cool before you place your next layer. I found that if you do this while it's still hot and you actually need to move that layer around, it causes some lifting, which causes some bubbling. So just give this a minute to cool down. Now this is only 2 layers, which is really nice. So we're going to be able to press this last layer, the full layer. But I want to make sure I get this nice and straight and even. So I'm just very gently moving this around until I find where I'm happy with where it's sitting. I think that looks pretty even. I just sort of give it a glance, a once over, and just make sure that I am happy with that. I think that looks good. So we'll go ahead and give this the full press, and this is just pressing for, like I said, 8 to 10 seconds. This is a super quick and easy press. Love using StarCraft Softflex. It's such an easy product. And again, this is a warm peel, so you go ahead and peel this as soon as you are done. And now you've got a beautiful design that you made yourself. I'll show you this one up close as well.
These turned out so cute, and you can make them too. Just follow the directions and you can really use any design or image that you want. I'm going to link everything that I used down below because I did use a couple different types of vinyl, and I'll also link the font that I used because that's one of my favorites. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the crafty content we have coming. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.